So magandang hapon, good afternoon, industry friends. So I am Kate Cartista. I am the Business Development Manager for Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. So we, along with our exclusive distributor of Microraid in the Philippines, Greenway Animal Health Solutions, welcome you to the launching of our new member of the Patent Co family, Mycoraid. So first of all, we would like to thank you for your time, for being here at the webinar. So before we start, we would like to present to you a short corporate presentation of Patent Co. Hopefully you're already seeing my screen. So, so we are Patent Co. We are experts in prevention. So actually our roots started in 1991. So the company is already 30 years old. And we are specialized in the production of compound feed and premixes in the local market and in Southeast Europe. But for the global market, we have two categories. We have innovative feed additives for mycotoxin prevention and phytogenics. So for something about the company, we produce around 180,000 feed meal. This is our feed meal capacity, 180,000 tons per year. And we also produce premixes at 30,000 per year. And we have a lot of number of products. We have 300 plus SKUs. And then we take pride in our R&D and QC laboratory because it is certified by the HACCP system, ISO 22000, and FAMI-QS. So we have our R&D and QC laboratory. We do NIR as a service item for our customers and partners. We do a lot of chemical analysis. And we also do feed formulation support using Best Mix. And of course, as part of our after-sales service, we take pride in our LC-MSMS. So we do a lot of research on mycotoxins. And you can even send samples to our headquarters for a lot of adsorption and desorption studies. And we also do a mycotoxin analysis for feed samples and conduct surveys yearly. And also a mycotoxin analysis service for our customers. So this is our microbiology lab. We have a lot of researches on biotechnology. Actually, we produce our own mycotoxins as part of our, of course, to study more on mycotoxins. We develop our own enzymes and microbes as probiotics. So we do a lot of collaborations with the universities. Here is a list of some of them. And currently, we are also developing for the Southeast Asia market. And also, we have our own educational farm. So we do a lot of researches to show our strength in the scientific industry. We have our own educational farm, Edu Farm, and we house around 1,000 sows. And also we have experimental farm for broilers. And we have a lot of a team of experts available for modern pig production training. So we are internationally, we are present in 6 continents, and also we have around 50 plus number of distributors worldwide. So I'll stop sharing. So actually, before I start the main presentation, we would like to invite you to, as you can see the Q&A box, we would entertain some questions at the end of the main presentation, and those that would be chosen would be given special tokens. So I think without further ado, I would like to give the floor now to our main speaker, Dr. Nemanja Todorovic, our Regional Director for Southeast Asia and Middle East.
Thank you very much, Kate. Good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with you, and I'm proud to be part of this webinar where I present you our new member of portfolio, which is the product name Microraid, and which is a full solution and other toxin contaminants. As one small recapitulation of what we will do today and what we will speak about, I will say that first I will speak about mycotoxins, endotoxins, and algae as a big change in animal feed industry. Nowadays, we are not talking about mycotoxins only, but also about different contaminants. And that's why we extended our research and extended our action with our products against endotoxins and algae toxins. Then we'll speak something about product itself and its characteristics. And later on, we will go to some in vitro absorption and biotransformation of mycotoxins and other contaminants using this product. For the presentation, I will just say mycotoxins are main contaminants of animal feed. Well, due to the complex nature of these naturally occurring contaminants and their harmful effects on animals, a risk management process must be adopted. Mycotoxins are secondary metabolites of different which are produced under favorable environmental conditions. They exist on almost all commodities worldwide, and now, despite only 2 years ago, we could speak about, let's say, more than 400 mycotoxins. Today, we can speak about more than 500 detected mycotoxins. All mycotoxins are dangerous for animal health. However, the mycotoxins which are, I would say, important for a livestock industry are a product of three fungi. These are Fusarium species, Aspergillus species, and Penicillium species. Talking about mycotoxins in general, it's important and worth to mention that they are chemically stable, they are resistant against temperature, resisting storage, and they are resisting processing conditions. These 4 points should be remembered, because there are, I would say, many claims that processing conditions can destroy mycotoxins. On contrary, maybe by different temperatures and processing conditions, they can be just, I would say, linked later on with some, I would say, molecules as carbohydrates and be detected. So here at this point, we are talking about masked mycotoxins. Where does it come from? Depending on where they are produced and where do they come from, we can later talk also about the prevention methods and what, I would say, actions we should implement. Mycotoxins produced in the field, and 95% of mycotoxins are already produced. Mycotoxins can be used during the harvest and later on during the storage. According to this, I would say that the points and the stages of feed production, we can talk about field and storage fungi. Field fungi are Fusarium and Fusarium species, which produce Mycotoxins as T2 and deoxynivalenol mycotoxin, then zearalenone. Then we have some storage fungi as Aspergillus and Penicillium, which produce aflatoxins and ochratoxins. In favor of my, let's say, claim that 95% of mycotoxins are already produced in the field, we did several especially corn mycotoxin surveys in last 3 years. What we really saw is that the level of field fungi is significant, and these mycotoxins, as fumonisins, are present in much higher levels than storage mycotoxins as aflatoxins and ochratoxins. If you remember, on one of the previous slides, I masked mycotoxins. This is one of the, not anymore the one novelty when we are talking about this problem and this challenge in livestock industry. However, there is a one, I would say, mycotoxins cannot be detected by routine analytical tests as ELISA, as lateral flow test. So this is one big challenge. The most important and relevant masked mycotoxins are deoxynivalenol 3-glucoside and zearalenone 14-glucoside and zearalenone 14-sulfate. So in general, we can see that total level of mycotoxins be a summary of mycotoxins plus masked mycotoxins. Talking about mycotoxins effects in general, we can say that they can, even at very low concentrations, cause serious health problems for animals and consequently for humans, because we know that mycotoxins have a very high transfer rate into animal tissues. Especially, this is important for the let's say products by animal origin which is used for human consumption, as milk, meat, and eggs. By some reference in the literature, we can say that 60%, and with some reference, 60 to 80% of herb crops are contaminated with mycotoxins. So this just means that mycotoxins are present problem. They were the problem in the past, and they will stay as one of the main problems for animal feed producer in the future. What is also worth to mention is that there is no treatment for mycotoxin poisoning. So there is no something that we can solve the issues which are caused by mycotoxins. Also, clinical symptoms of mycotoxins can be misinterpreted and can be related to some other diseases. So all these facts are representing one of the main issues when we are talking about the toxicosis as poisoning itself. Mycotoxin effects on animals are different. They can start on a cellular level, and then they can cause very serious clinical symptoms, and even death in some cases, depending on the toxin concentration, depending on the animal age, and also the immune condition of the animal. Here we showed some of the most important mycotoxins and their importance for different animal species. As you can see here, T2 as trichotessin is, I would say, the most important for poultry, where they can cause very serious damages. Aflatoxin B1 is, I would say, equally important for all animal species. Later on, we can talk about zearalenone as one, let's say, estrogen simulator mycotoxin, which has very, very high for swine. And in recent studies, we saw that this mycotoxin can cause a big problem in the breeders in poultry and also in ruminants. Talking about deoxynivalenol, definitely the most, I would say, sensitive species are swine. Talking about fumonizins, also fumonizins can affect swine animal health. However, recent studies shows that aquaculture can be very sensitive to this mycotoxin, especially carnivores. So the species which are, I would say, depending on lipid metabolism. I would say some effect of mycotoxins, and in this case about aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is very well known as hepatocarcinogenic toxin. So the main target organ for aflatoxin is the liver, and it's I would say it's related to all animal species. When in case of, I would say, prolonged intake of aflatoxin B1 and very high concentrations, it can cause enlarged and liver. However, it can be, I would say, as I mentioned before, misinterpreted. So this is very important to differentiate from fatty liver syndrome and problem with liver mycotoxins. Here you can see by color of this liver on the picture how affected is by mycotoxins. By increasing in toxin concentration, damages is increasing as well. Toxin A is mycotoxins, which is, I would say, detected in a huge levels recently. Ochratoxin A can have negative impact on egg production in poultry and also can cause some kidney damages in all animal species, especially in poultry and swine. However, as I said, in recent studies and recent surveys, we noticed that ochratoxin A level is not on significant risk. Later, talking about the fusariums, they can cause vet litter and diarrhea in poultry and also can cause poor feathering in poultry. This is very well noticed, especially in breeder flock due to their long life cycle. Talking about other trichotoxins, in this case T2 toxin. T2 toxin is one very caustic mycotoxins, and it can cause immediately damages. Here on both pictures, you can see necrosis and crust in buccal mucosis. These pictures are from Patent Co. Sources Patent Co. archive, and as you can see here, it's very characteristic. So when you see on the farm these lesions, and which are in most of cases complemented by some gizzard erosions or some intestinal bleeding, we can say that we have a problem with T2 toxin on the farm. There is also one also from our archive, which can show erosion along whole digestive tract of the poultry. Dioxin is in most cases in combination with T2 toxin. Very common lesion, which may be caused by deoxynivalenol, is this, I would say, gizzard erosions and bleeding in intestinal tract, in intestine specific. You can see here, it's also very characteristic. However, it also can be misinterpreted with different feed and health challenges. So that's why we should be very cautious when we, I would say, put the diagnosis of deoxynivalenol intoxication, and we should pay attention to some other, I would say, pathogens. Especially, we can talk about some feed problems with the feed composition, and also challenges in poultry. As I said, they affect animal health as I would say one complex. So here there is one schematic view showing how mycotoxins affect eggshell quality and how they increase embryonic mortality. So mycotoxins, first, they can affect gastrointestinal tract, and consequently they can reduce feed intake. Later on, as a next consequence, we are coming to the lower calcium and D3 vitamin absorption. At the same time, mycotoxins as aflatoxin or some trichotoxins can affect the liver. By affecting the liver, protein synthesis is reduced. Also, transport of calcium, lipids, pigments, and vitamin A is also reduced. Consequently, by affecting kidneys, ochratoxin A and aflatoxin can cause excretion of calcium by urine. As one of the main, I would say, next step, it's coming that calcium and phosphorus level in plasma is going down. To compensate these losses, the animal's body is mobilizing calcium from the bones. These and later on, as an eggshell is one of the first line of the defense through different, I would say, pathogens from the environment during the incubation, and also due to losses in humidity inside during the incubation, we are coming to the point where embryonic mortality is increased, and we also can see some bleeding spots in the eggs. This can be especially the mycotoxins as ochratoxin A. Later on, we are going to the one of the mycotoxins which is the most prevalent in the recent year. This is a fumonisin. Fumonisin is a field mycotoxins. Mycotoxins, as I mentioned, with the special, I would say, importance for swine. In swine, it affects respiratory tract and causing pulmonary edema. Fumonisin toxicity in swine occur. This respiratory pulmonary edema occurs 3 to 5 days after the initial consumption of contaminated feed. Of course, it does not mean that if we have, I would say, fumonisins in feed, in swine feed, that will immediately cause this pulmonary. So this is one very complex, I would say, pathogenesis, and usually it's correlated with some other bacterial or viral challenges. Fumonisin itself very as all other mycotoxin, but fumonisin itself is very immunosuppressive mycotoxin. Also, to affecting tight junctions in intestinal tract, in increased intestinal colonization, E. coli in pigs. Also, talking about the poultry, presence of mycotoxins and fumonisin itself increases from many intestinal causes, especially coccidiosis and necrotic enteritis. Here, as you can see here, as you can see on this slide, the fumonisin B1 can increase the permeability of intestinal cell walls, affecting the tight junctions. So this is one of the reasons why we usually have, as a consequence of mycotoxin presence in feed, some other intestinal problems, as I said, E. coli in swine or coccidiosis and clostridiosis in poultry. Zearalenone is one of toxins which is very, very, I would say, estrogenic mycotoxin. It has, I would say, similar activity as estrogen hormone. It can cause vulvovaginitis in sows and even in one-day piglets, as you can see here on the picture on the left. This is also a picture from Patent Po Archive. And by this, I would say, clinical symptom, we could assume that sows had a problem of with zearalenone in feed, and later through colostrum they transferred this mycotoxin to the piglets. Also, there are several studies showing that zearalenone and deoxynivalenol be transferred by colostrum or by milk to the pigs. What is very, very, I would say, worth to mention is that presence of moles does not necessarily imply presence of mycotoxins. So basically, you can you go to the silos or you go to the warehouse and you see, I mean, the corn which is pure as a gold, let's say, yellow as a gold. It does not mean that it's completely free of mycotoxins. On another side, mycotoxins can be present. Mycotoxins also can be, the corn can be free of mycotoxins, even it's full of molds. Why this is the situation? Because I said, because mycotoxins are produced only under favorable environmental conditions. Here we are talking about the temperature, water activity, humidity, etc. Mycotoxins they affect animal health only by direct, I would say. Also, it can be synergistic effect between mycotoxins. Also, as a third pattern, it can be even antagonistic interaction between mycotoxins. However, we are always talking about the synergistic effect of mycotoxins, which means that combined negative effects on productivity and health appear greater than how toxins affect synergistically, how mycotoxins synergistically affect production, animal health. When we, let's say, no, mycotoxins are very well known, and indeed they are challenged for a long time, I would say the middle of the last century. However, in animal feed, we have more and more problem with endotoxins. When I'm saying endotoxins, I think on bacterial endotoxins, which are part of the outer membrane of the gram-negative bacteria cell walls. Here, we usually say that we are talking about lipopolysaccharides. So basically, these endotoxins are released when cells are choice. Exotoxins are the second insoluble form by live bacteria. Endotoxins are present everywhere in air, water, animal feed, soil, and the gastrointestinal tract of the animal. Here there is one, I would say, information from 1993 where the FDA tested for the presence of Salmonella enterica in animal feed samples from 78 rendering plants. Salmonella enterica were detected in 56 of the 100 animal protein-based sample and 36% of the 50 vegetable protein-based samples. So basically, endotoxins are not the only, I would say, pathogenic factor of gram-negative bacteria. However, they are one of them, and definitely feed should pay attention on them. That's why when we're talking about the solution against mycotoxins, we can also talk about the solution for endotoxins. Endotoxins are, let's say, cured by antibiotics, especially as a polymyxin B or cholistic. But these antibiotics are toxic themselves and also can cause, toxic themselves, and effectiveness is unquestionable as well. That's why a feed added can bind endotoxins together with mycotoxins is desired. Next, I would say we neglected, and producers are not talking too much about it. When I'm saying feed producers on this, and now I think on aqua feed producers. Algae toxins are produced in the ocean and also in fresh. Usually we're talking here about cyanotoxins, which can cause some neurological problems in all aquatic species, and also can cause these problems in humans. These toxins can, let's say, leave residues in all, I would say, aquatic species, and they can be transferred in humans by, I would say, edible. Is one important. The latest studies, it is one of the most, I would say, best known paralytic shellfish toxin for all aquatic species. That's why, together with, I would say, product when we were developing product against mycotoxin, we were also thinking about how to develop the product which is at the same time effective against endotoxins, bacterial endotoxins, and toxins for aquatic species. What would be the solution? Of course, talking about the solution itself against all these toxins, I would say the prevention is the key. And here we are talking about this mycotoxin and toxin risk management in general. Talking about the mycotoxins themselves, all, I would say, preventive measures can be divided in pre-harvest and post-harvest actions. When we are talking about pre-harvest actions, and I will not talk too much about them, we are talking about good agriculture practice. So here we think on choosing the right hybrid of the corn, for example, or preparing the land properly, choosing the right, I would say, harvest period, following, I would say, and trying to reduce the damage during the harvest. And all these, I would say, actions are considered as a pre-harvest action. Later on, after the harvest, we have, I would say, one line of different steps how to prevent and how to minimize the risk of all these toxins. First, we are talking about the storage. Storage is one critical step, and that's why the optimal storage conditions should be provided. Then, even if we, I would say, take good storage conditions, mycotoxins can be produced, and that's why the regular monitoring of raw materials and feed is. When we're talking about the monitoring, we need to know how to properly sample this raw material or feed. Why? Because you know that mycotoxins are not distributed equally. So that's why proper sampling is a second critical step. Talking about the testing raw materials and feed, here we can talk about the screening by using methods like a quick analyzing methods as lateral flow test or ELISA test, or confirmation methods as liquid chromatography tandem mass spectrometry, which is nowadays a golden standard for mycotoxin analysis. As a last step in this mycotoxin risk management, we are talking about applying mycotoxin solution. So here, as if we recall, we are not talking anymore about mycotoxin solution. We're talking about toxin solution, because we have at the same time mycotoxins, endotoxins, and algae toxins. That's why I'm very proud to present you exclusively now for Philippines market and all other Asian markets, our product named Mycoraid. So product Microraid is a result of, I would say, long work of patent co R&D and technique together with many relevant scientific worldwide. Mycoraid is one new concept in mycotoxin and toxin protection, and we can say that Mycoraid is one multi-layer protection product. So what the protection and modes of action are not, I would say not working on one mode of action in one layer. So we have different, I would say, shields of protection from these toxins. That's why we can speak about adsorption, biotransformation, and immunostimulation. These four modes of action are, I would say, got and obtained through different ingredients in the product. First one are specially selected minerals, of course, which provides adsorption of this product. Then we have microbial complex, and this is something that we devoted a lot of time to this part, is the microbial complex, which can produce enzymes for mycotoxin biotransformation. Then we can talk about the herbal extracts, which provides organoprotection in first line, liver and intestines. And if you recall on if of mycotoxin why this part is very, very important for animal protection and also for this product itself. Yeast cell walls as the last ingredient also can provide mycotoxin binding and immunostimulation. What is worth to mention that all these four ingredients are mycotoxins and endotoxins. So here we are not talking about the effect of each of the ingredients separately, but about the all ingredients together. So in this case, we are talking about bioremediation of these toxins. What are the modes of action? And I will not, I would say, speak too much about the binding itself, because we all know what is mycotoxin binding. We'll pay more attention about the biotransformation and bioremediation of mycotoxins, gut health improvement and immunomodulation, and organoprotection to herbal extracts. So, with this product, thanks to special selected minerals and characteristics of this binding, that it has stable, selective, and effective bond with mycotoxins. Mycoraid, these minerals in Mycoraid increase the binding against aflatoxin, T2, fumonisin, ochratoxin, zearalenone, ergot alkaloids, endotoxins, and saxitoxin in gastrointestinal tract of the animals. So basically, the product itself can bind both polar, less polar mycotoxins, and is something in general. All this story about the biotransformation is one novelty in the segment of mycotoxin bioremediation. Mycon contains one microbial concoction, microbial complex, which is stable at all pH and all temperatures below 120 degrees Celsius. Why is this important? It's important because of the stability. inside the animal's body, inside the intestinal tract, and also because of the stability on different feed processing conditions. Thanks to these microbes inside the product, we obtain biotransformation of zearalenone, aflatoxin B1, and toxin A. Besides this microbial complex, which is present in Mycoraid, it showed the proven probiotic effect. Herbal extract, as I said, is one of the key ingredients in this product, which provides organoprotection in first line, hepatoprotection, and protection of intestines. This herbal extract contains flavonolignan silymarin. So this is one ingredient obtained from milk thistle extract. Herbal extract, as I said, has hepatoprotective effect accomplished by several modes of action. Inhibition of lipid peroxidation, also enhanced liver detoxification, immunomodulation, and restoring the function of antioxidative enzymes. This is something that we got, I would say, approved by doing different in vivo studies in animals and checking liver enzymes before and after production, and together and without the toxin contamination. As you know, scientifically proven ingredient from yeast, which support immune function. It's successful defend animal health, and also what is also important, it's stabilizing the gut health. If you recall on one of the previous slides, we're speaking of the effect and trichotoxins on intestines integrity and tight junctions, we can realize how important this ingredient is for our product. On one next few slides, we will talk about some analysis and effectiveness about Mycoraid itself, and also in comparison with some other competitor products. Of course, we to show commercial names of these products. However, these products are, I would say, very well positioned, and indeed they are very, very good products showing good effects in the field. Here we are talking only about full overall efficacy. However, how overall efficacy is obtained and calculated. Everyone thinks about absorption. That's something that and absorption shows, I would say, situation in lower pH in stomach. What happens in stomach when it comes to contact between mycotoxins and mycotoxin binder? However, we need to think about the desorption levels. Desorption is one phenomenon which can show us what happened in intestinal tract or what happened at higher pH. We know that not all mycotoxin binders are stable at all pH levels. That's why overall efficacy of mycotoxin binder is calculated and obtained by calculating adsorption and desorption level. So here are the levels after this, I would say, after using adsorption and desorption values. As you can see here, and we will talk only about the Mycoraid, we see that against aflatoxin B1 99.7%, against fumonisin B1 88.2%, against T2 toxin 74.9%. And here you can see, I would say, the superior effectiveness of Mycoraid comparing to some competitor products. Then talking about zearalenone, 89.4% of effectiveness of Mycoraid. And here also you will see the significant difference between Mycoraid and competitor products. Then ochratoxin 96.9%, citrinin 92.7%, ergosin 98.8%, and ergocryptin 98.1%. So as you can see, this show us just that Mycoraid is equally effective against polar and less polar mycotoxins. When we talk about the mycotoxin binder, all the time in our heads is only aflatoxin binder. However, thanks to this, especially the selected minerals, absorption for both polar and less polar mycotoxins is increased. Second mode of action against mycotoxins is transformation. Of course, what is the biotransformation? Chemical modification of these mycotoxins carried out by a living organism or by enzymes which are produced by this living. In case of Microraid, we are talking about the microbes, which by different biochemical patterns biotransform mycotoxins and produce less toxic or non-toxic metabolites to the parent mycotoxin. Of course, this we are coming here to the point where we need to face what metabolite we will obtain after the biotransformation. That's why in cooperation with different scientific institutions, I would say, we devoted a special attention to, I would say, this biotransformation and what products we will obtain after mycotoxin biotransformation in gastrointestinal tract of the animal. First mycotoxin which is biotransformed Mycoraid is aflatoxin B1, and here you can see what are the products. So the product of aflatoxin B1 biotransformation is aflatoxin Q1 and aflatoxicol. These levels which are obtained in case of aflatoxin B1 biotransformation by Mycoraid do not have any negative effects on animal health, and even these levels which are produced can be bound with Mycoraid with absorption component. So metabolism of aflatoxin B1 is primarily carried out by cytochrome CUP450 enzyme, which lead to the few hydroxylated metabolites. These hydroxylated metabolites are these aflatoxin Q1 and aflatoxicol. So idea with biotransformation is that we slightly change the structure by interrupting, I would say, its chemical and obtain less toxic or non-toxic compound. Next transformed by Mycoraid is zearalenone. Zearalenone. As a product of zearalenone biotransformation, we are coming to the formation of alpha-zearalenone due to the action of reductase enzyme. So alpha-zearalenone is a product of zearalenone biotransformation. However, this alpha-zearalenone is 3 to 4 times less toxic than zearalenone, so we can talk successful biotransformation by Mycoraid. Here on the right side of the table, you just can see, I would say, the product and the result of biotransformation by Mycoraid. From starting 500 ppb of zearalenone, in only 2 hours, the transformation is 90%. By this transformation, we let's say obtain only 0.39 ppb of alpha zearalenone. So this just means, as I said, that biotransformation of zearalenone by Mycoraid is successful. Then we're talking about biotransformation of ochratoxin A. The degradation of ochratoxin A to non-toxic or less toxic product metabolite is by hydrolysis amide bond, which is the most important ochratoxin A biodegradation mechanism. By different literature data, we show that ochratoxin alpha, which is produced in this case, is not toxic, or at least 500 times less toxic than the parent ochratoxin A. So here you can see what is the situation and what is the, I would say, the time frame of ochratoxin A inhibition by Mycoraid in 2 hours and 24 hours. So mediation of mycotoxins using Mycoraid is something which is, I would say, a combination of binding and biotransformation. So then we can say that bioremediation is a main mode of Mycoraid against zearalenone, ochratoxin, and aflatoxin B1. Here you can see what is the, I would say, the overall action against these three mycotoxins: aflatoxin B1, ochratoxin A, and zearalenone, if we combine both modes of action. So in this case, we can say that product Mycoraid is absolutely effective against three mycotoxins by synergistic effect of adsorption and biotransformation. As mycotoxin binding, we can also talk about toxins and algae toxin, mainly saxitoxin. In cooperation with Molenbeek laboratory in United Kingdom, we tested Mycoraid effectiveness against different lipopolysaccharides. In this case, we were testing Mycoraid against Pseudomonas lipopolysaccharides, Salmonella enterica, and E. coli lipopolysaccharide. You can see here that the effectiveness of Mycoraid is very high. However, it's worth to mention that we cannot say that by application of this type of the product and Mycoraid, we will solve all issues with Salmonella enterica or E. coli. So this is only one, I would say, one of the steps and one of the, I would say, keys how to solve these issues, because as you if you remember, endotoxins are only one of the many pathogenic factors of these bacteria. Talking about saxitoxin, here we tested binding of this algae toxin on different pH levels, on 3 and 6.5. So as a purpose, just to see, I would say, stability of this bond, as we did with the stability of binding of mycotoxin binding. So Mycoraid can bind more than 75% of saxitoxin at pH 3 and pH 6.5. So this is, as I said, very important for aqua producers, and of course Southeast Asia, I would say, aqua and in general aquatic animal producer in the world. So adsorption is the main, I would say, characteristic. One of the main, I would say, parameter is something that we always pay attention to. Some mycotoxins can be very quickly adsorbed. Here we are talking about aflatoxins and trichoterpins. That's why all mycotoxins, all anti-mycotoxin agents, mycotoxin binders, mycotoxin, I would say, detoxificators should act quickly against mycotoxins. Here, with what we did, we tested Microraid speed of adsorption in 5, 30, and 60 minutes. So I would here pay special attention to this first, I would say, time, reaction time of 5 minutes. Can solve most of the mycotoxin, can remove most of the mycotoxins in only 5 minutes. This is especially related to mycotoxins aflatoxin B1 and T2. So that's why this parameter is something that should be evaluated all the time when we are talking about the mycotoxin binder comparison and mycotoxin binder evaluation. Mycoraid, of course, application and the inclusion rate depends on level of contamination. However, recommended dosage can start from 500 grams per metric ton, and it can go to up to 2 kilograms per metric ton of feed, depending on contamination level. That's why I would like to advise and suggest that you download one of the application that patented and developed. You can download this a mobile app on Google Play Store, and it's named Mycoraid, which can help you to determine the level of risk for your animal, and at the same time help you with mycotoxin inclusion rate. For the end of today's speech, once again mention how important is an effective management of mycotoxin contamination, and now not only about the mycotoxin, but also about the endotoxin and algae toxin contamination. There are many different products in the field, and that's why usually I would say the feed producers, veterinarians, farmers are confused. Many I would say manufacturers of mycotoxin binders are coming, having different claims and different speech. Different products, good products in the field. However, as an advice for all, I would say, for the all audience and the all industry, I think that everyone should pay attention to following parameters. First, absorption capacity and broad spectrum mycotoxin effect. What does it mean? We need to know what mycotoxins can solve. Are we talking only about the polar mycotoxins as alpha toxins, or also we are talking about the less polar mycotoxins? Then the sorption or irreversibility of the mycotoxin bond. If you remember, I explained how overall efficacy of mycotoxin binder is calculated. So that's why when we want to choose and when we want to evaluate mycotoxin binder, we always want and need to ask about the dissolved levels, or actually want to know what is the stability binder in different pH levels. Then speed of absorption. One of the last slides is something that can help you to understand why speed of absorption is very important for each mycotoxin, anti-mycotoxin product. Something that I didn't say too much about it today, because I think that everyone knows already a lot about it. It's the product selectivity. So the product needs to be binding specific, and it should not bind, I would say, some amino acids, vitamins, nutrients, coccidiostats, or antibiotics. So it should be specific only for mycotoxins. Later, next one, all products, of course, should be safe and stable. When I'm saying stable here, should be stable at different feed processing condition, and should be, of course, stable at different pH, which is related to or irreversibility in gastrointestinal tract. Last but not least, what this product will bring to us. When I'm saying what will bring to us, I think here on economic, I would say, benefits. Everyone wants to know what we'll get back after the investment. So I think when we have these parameters in front of us, it will be easier to determine what is the suitable mycotoxin binder or anti-mycotoxin for us. As a conclusion, mycotoxins can cause significant health problems in animals, and I would say, problems can be expressed on many levels, starting from the clinical symptoms, I'd say making animal more predisposing, increasing predisposing factors for many diseases, and also affecting productivity. There is no, I would say, super. So there are many good solutions in the field, in the market. However, the parameter that I showed you on the previous slide is something that each of you and each of us should consider. So besides applying mycotoxin solution, a fight against mycotoxins should be also brought on an upper level. If you remember the mycotoxin risk management and I would say the critical steps, each should pay attention in this, I would say, chain of feed production. By this slide, I would like to finish my to thank you for and of course I hope that you will have some questions for us, and definitely be more than happy to answer you and help you to better understand the product itself and toxin problem in general.
Okay, thank you, Nemanja, for that informative presentation. So actually, we have a question here, Nemanja. He has a question about the desorption rate. How can you be sure Microraid doesn't leave the toxins in the intestine? Or did you have any analysis resulting toxin binding capacity rate in same sample with increasing pH level?
Yes, thank you very much first on the question. It's a very good question. Indeed, desorption level and is something I would say that it's not very, I mean, it's very well known, but the people are not talking too much about it. How we can be sure that Mycoraid itself does not leave, I would say, mycotoxins in intestines is first you can check the mycotoxin binding in different pH levels. So you can start from even from 1 to 10 and check the binding levels of different mycotoxins. If the binding is not changed, it means that the product and the composition of the product is stable and not affected by pH. There is, of course, one, I would say, not standard methodology. However, there are some, I would say, laboratory methods which can be used for determination of desorption rate. So first, you basically test adsorption of mycotoxins, and later on, you also check, I would say, desorption on a higher pH. Adsorption is usually tested at pH 3, while desorption is tested at 6.5. So in this, let's say, in this way, we can just, I would say, check what happens in gastrointestinal tract, in stomach where pH is lower, and intestines where pH is higher. We had a chance to test and to compare, I would say, close to 100 different products and different ingredients, not products, different ingredients from the field. And what we realized is that, for example, one of the ingredients, as for example bentonite, is not stable at pH above 6, for example, which means that when it comes this complex of mycotoxin binder and mycotoxins comes to intestine, it will start to release mycotoxins from the surface. Definitely, these mycotoxins later can enter in bloodstream and can affect animal health as the one which are not absorbed. So definitely there are methods for detecting it, and of course, if you are interested, we are ready to share with you whole methodology and I would say the full results that we obtain.
Yes, thank you, Nemanja. I think we don't have any more questions. Calling once, twice. So I'll just make a recap of the presentation of Nemanja. So Microraid provides multi-layer protection by having the mode of action for adsorption, biotransformation, hepatoprotection, and as an immunostimulant. We have a lot of in vitro efficacy studies and using adsorption and desorption values. And we also have testing for endotoxins and saxitoxin. I think not a lot are doing that. And of course, we have our mobile app that we gladly share with you. You can download it using, I think, Google and also for Mac. So I think that's it, Nemanja. And I think we have any more to say, Nemanja?
Well, no, for the end, I will also once again want to thank to the audience, for all participants, for devoting time for this presentation. I hope that it was informative enough, and of course we'll be more than glad to answer on all your further questions. And also if you want more information about the product, we'll be more than glad to share with you.
And also, you may also contact our exclusive distributor of Microraid in the Philippines, Greenway Animal Health Solutions. So you can contact them or me anytime. So thank you very much. Salamat po for attending the webinar, and we wish you a great week ahead.